Welcome to the watch list video for March the 15th, 2018. We're going to look at our daily and weekly charts on our bullish and bear breaks, as well as take a look at the market. Today was pretty choppy, so we didn't have a lot of breakers today, and we were headed back down. Was pretty much the theme of the day. We'll take a look at those charts now. Throw this little disclaimer in here right up front. This is a little bit of a long video, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you right now where it's at. At about 30 minutes in, 28 minutes from that point, for about 15 minutes, I did a lot of teaching, looking at some chart setups, and we looked at SIG on this pre-market action, how I set that up, and then we looked at DIX from yesterday for a moment there at the end, how I had drawn my lines on DIX as well. Yesterday. I don't know where my lines went. They were on here a minute ago. And here they are. They're way down here. I forgot the stock went up so far. Shared how I set this action up here as well. That was all in the last about 30 minutes, 28 minutes for about 15 minutes there. Then we put the recaps on the end. So if you want to skip the teaching part, that's the part you want to miss. Overall video is about 30 minutes. Just skip that spot right there. From about 30 minutes all the way into right to the recaps. Sorry I got long-winded. Appreciate you watching. Subscribe to our channel while you're here. We'll start out with the Dow. Remember last week, several days ago, we drew this top trend line. We drew this bottom trend line. And I pretty much drew you a picture. Exactly what ended up happening. Hit the trend line. We rejected. We closed below the 50-day. We tested the 50-day and the trend line again, and we rejected. And today we've gone back down and visited the bottom trend line. We really need the hole right here. It's a good lesson in how easy it is to figure this stuff out sometimes. It's done pretty much what it's supposed to do. Now what we want it to do, if you're bullish, is to stay in this wedge and then break back out through the 50 over here. In the days coming, we just worked our way right into this squeeze here. If we gap down and come up and hit this from the bottom, we could be headed back down to retest these lows. A few shots we put out over on our private Twitter feed here. These were some advanced decline lines we used to pick up on some market movement today. It was a nice CI breakout this morning. Finally, on the bigger factors, broke out on our 25 here about right into the open, and just worked his way up all day. That's a VWAP you see running along there. Just kept holding our 25 factor chart all the way up. It was choppy. You got to understand, these represent dollar and some change moves back down and held up every time. That's what we teach, is look for the pullback 4 or 5 factors and then look for explosion back off of that, which generally is going to run 4, 6, even 8 factors, and that's what you see here. From right in here, that's 164. I could have blew that up, made it better. This was early breakout. Here's your first pullback. Your early breakout right here is from 164 up about 5 factors, 6 factors on the 25 factor. So that's $1.50 move. You get this choppiness, it pulls back. Don't try to trade this. I don't know what's going on. This is what I do know. Pulls back here. We wait for a bounce, which requires a minimum of 2 factor move back up, so that gets it back up at least 50 cents on the pullback, and then we break again for another 4 to 6 factors. Here we go, all the way to 166 from down here, 164.50. That's simple enough math there. We'll get some more chopping around and win again. On the AD lines, this was just one we were looking at late day for that little late day rally when they finally turned around. It's a real short term chart, and they got the SPY to make that little run there late in the afternoon. That was about 2:15. It's actually 1:15 right about here, about 1:30 when it finally set up over here. Gave a long on the SPY. AD lines running in the same time frame, broke on out. Little shot we put in the room here right after 2, the AD line started to break down, and the SPY was still it was falling. As they break down, that's what we teach. If it's not in a red zone, it's going to come back. Gave the little wiggle there, went in a red zone. And this will just show you how the AD lines will lead the market. The market's going to follow. If you got more losers than you got winners, and you're making a turn here, the market's got to follow. And that's what happened. The market came down, went back and retested. Again, same thing we teach. Through the green zone, but not in for a red zone short. You're going to get a bounce, get the bounce red zone, and it just continued on down on the market. This set the pace this morning. This is 9:40 a.m. We had the gap up. We sold off, gave that little bounce. Again, exactly what we teach. We're into the short area, but we're still not signaling a short. It goes back, retraces, signals a short way up here. Sets the pace for the morning. And then we chopped around in the afternoon, got that little run we just looked at on the shorter term. And then we ended up fading back to the downside. That was pretty much our all-day picture of the market. Now this is on our 50 factor, so this is taking a bigger picture of what's going on. So our 25 factor that kind of breaks down that little cycle that went on in the middle of that. As it went down, it gave that little choppy move there, and then it just broke on down. And you really start setting up some shorts here about 10 o'clock. This is your good window for about 2 hours. A late day shot of the ES minis. This is a pretty big factor for the minis. Been in this uptrend. It finally, this was this morning, it worked its way on down. Gave the little bounce like it's supposed to and just faded on off through the day. Now this is went into a short zone period now. And I'm kind of chopping sideways after hours so far. Get back on our charts. So all that's what's set up for this motion. Took you down to a 10-minute. You see exactly what we had going on here. Remember I told you about 10 o'clock. You started setting up for the bigger downtrend for about 2 hours. There's just a roadmap to say what to be looking for and what to be trying to trade. This is what the Dow did through the day. Your SPY, same thing. And then I like to look at the SP 500 on the bigger time frames. Gave the same picture as the SPY, of course. Here's where you're riding. This is yesterday's 50 day. It held it all day. This is where we drew it in yesterday. Remember I told you it's probably headed back down here when we get to this upper trend line and the 50 is going to intersect. We need to hold. I think this is a bigger story than the Dow because there's so much more involved in it. So we're back to where we really need to hold, which lining up with the Dow is where it really needs to hold, even though it's on a different place on the chart. It's down here on this support line, so if it can hold support and the SP 500 can hold this 50 day and the top side here, we can bounce from here. But I now adjusted this with yesterday's value when we started. Now this is where we actually, the 50 day at the end of the day, and we close slightly above it. And as you saw when we looked here a minute ago, all day long it kept hitting here and holding. So they're really trying, the bulls are trying to hold the market here. So we'll see what tomorrow brings. These are bears over here. We only had 3 show up on the bear break so far this week. Only 3 on the bull break so far this week. A few more on the bears today. And 2 or 3 bulls showed up. I've got 5 here on the bull breaks on the dailies, even in this down market. Before we go on, I know you're sitting here looking at this list and saying, well, why don't you have this big monster stock right here? Because it didn't break the bull zone, number one. It broke it days ago, right back here. but it really didn't break it then. That wouldn't be on the alert. It maintained it. This is where it broke the bull zone, way back here. We do scan for stocks as low as $3 if they have enough minimum average daily volume. They break into our bull zone and ATR levels that we look for on here for tradable setups. But this stock actually, as you can see, went true on my bull zone on March the 5th. And the level was $5.38. Now, I can't predict when these things are going to do this. I can just tell you it's in the bull zone. It's got momentum. Now, if this is what you like to trade, I've had a lot of people asking me about my bull zone through the years. I put it in this package. You don't have to use my pivot system trading. You can use this for nothing but bull zone breaks. This is the stock on the day that it went into bull zone. We've included in this package two different, these are just alert builders. They're not really usable on the chart, but you can we build an alert off of these plot on our algos, and this is the level right here, $5.38. That was the bull zone trigger level, and it has to be accompanied by the power. The power happens when this goes 1 and -1 at the same time, or they have to both be equal to those values when the bull zone takes place. So off building the alerts in our charting package, you can scan for any other volume criteria you want to, any price criteria you want to. And if you like to trade $6 stocks, this will probably work for you as well if you want to use this system. I'm not sure our pivot system would work that well on these low price stocks, but I know this does. And you can also notice each of these levels that went up. This is our lines that we put for support and resistance. Rejection to begin with. Today it went on up, and what did it do? It ran into an old high, each level along the way. And that's also part of our charting package, this graph of these lines on your charts. Get our 3-minute tutorial. We'll get back to these bear zones on the weeklies and the dailies. Weekly bear. This stock's been coming out for 3 days. Big bear candle followed by 2 more right into a daily support area. And pretty much that line was $39.61 and the low was $39.62. I ain't making this stuff up, guys. This line was here way before today. And that's where it went to. Old resistance is what that was, an old high. Old resistance, new support. Worked well today. Whether it can hold there tomorrow, I don't know. Here's your weekly into this same line we were just looking at there. Also, this is pulled back before, very close to this same area here on a pullback. Probably got a pink line on the daily right back here. That represents that same pullback right here. That low 39.79 is the value of this pink line right here. And you could probably hit enough charts to find it somewhere if you keep looking. And I do that. If I see something selling pretty hard, you can just take our charts with these lines on them, these support resistance lines, and you can go to any time frame you want. You got something selling hard, go try to figure out where it's going, and that's the quickest way I know to do it, is just grab your chart, start changing the time frames. These plot just as fast as you change them. weekly bear zone. This is not really consolidation, it's momentum. The consolidation was up here, broke into the bear zone this first day. 3 days ago we had this, and it's just continued on down. OSK, I think this was on here yesterday. Get back on a weekly, setting up here, continued another little red day today. TEX lost the 50 week last week. You got it back above it, opened right on it this week. It's headed back down. This has been in a bear zone for several weeks, and it's just continues down in this area. You can look at your dailies. You're not in a bear zone on the daily. You're just kind of sideways and drifting down. On the weekly bulls, ACHC, we've been talking about this stock for days and days and days. It just continues to grind up. That's your 50 week, excuse me. Here's your daily. We've had this on the daily chart for quite a while, from this first breakout all the way back here on the 14th day of February. ACIA, still on a weekly bull. Couple of rough days here. Seemed like it was kind of thin on volume today. Here it is trying to break out of this weekly long channel. Give you a little. This goes way back. This has been basing down here. It's trying to get through this 50 week average. Now it's actually pulled back for the week. It's still in the bull zone, and it may be next week before it goes, depending on what this market does. I know it's got to be having an effect on everything. And this reaching these regional highs and been pulling back. It's lost from the bull zone. This was the original break this time back here, so hadn't gone anywhere yet. Went up and actually opened below it and staying below it. So it needs to get back up here really to get back in the bull zone. It may hold the 200 day here, but it is technically still in the weekly bull zone. So watch this stock for the next few weeks or next several days. You want to get it back up in here, see if you can pick this momentum back up. This stock's been on here a couple of days, still stuck right here at the 200 week. Sideways action on the daily. New member showed up today into the weekly bull. Barely closed up above that line. It's trying to get out of this consolidation area above the 50 week, and this is actually in the daily bull zone. It showed up there yesterday. Just barely closed high enough to qualify, and it had another update today. I'm not sure how the intraday would look on this. Here you were this morning, and worked its way back up. It's not a day trader machine, that's for sure. But that's how it's setting up on the weekly bull zone. We'll look at the dailies and get done. While you're here, be sure to subscribe to our channel and follow us on Twitter or Stock Twits at Daytrader Setups. And our website is daytradersetups.com and swingtradersetups.com. Don't forget, this video is being brought to you by our premium alerts at swingtradersetups.com. They're real-time alerts. They're posted on our website, and we're looking at our bull zone weekly and daily breakouts, and our bear zone weekly and daily breakouts that are in one category on the website. And there are other categories that are more aggressive for the more active trader as well. And by having a subscription to that service, you get all these alerts intraday as they happen, and one subscription gets you access to everything, as well as our chart system. If you would like to get it, I can set you up a couple of different ways to have the green and pink lines available for your charts as you review. Let's go forward. We're going to look at the weekly bulls first, since we got so much bear look into the market right now. I want to pop this up here real quick. I was trying to load it a while ago and couldn't. This is much bigger time frame on the Fuchs This going back here several days into March the 6th and the 5th and so forth, as the market had worked its way up before we got into this pullback. We broke into our green zone for the bigger time trend, and you see this pullback, and what we've been showing you on these charts is how they'll pull back and revisit this green zone area and then retrace and go. So this is setting up. If this doesn't give away, there's no guarantee what it does. It comes back down right here and it went through it. But this is setting up where we're not at the peak of the uptrend. We're trying to start a new uptrend, and we're pulling back here, and we want the market to hold on this 50-day. So this could very well do exactly what our charts do when we're trading on them, is it can pull right into this level and not take it out by very much. The future sometimes will get a little below. I don't have this tweaked in. I'm not trading it. But this is not real-time data. This is delayed. But it's still within the last 15 or 20 minutes. This can hold right here when they meet in that area and then give a reversal. And this market can go back up. So that's in our favor. And these charts work on futures. As far as laying out the overall, I use them every day on the AD lines. Just a lot of things you can use the same setups for. Charts are charts. So that was basically showing you this uptrend, and now we're pulling back. And we bounce like we're supposed to. We could come all the way back here just like the Dow's done, and we go on back up. If that holds up on what I'm seeing on the bigger futures charts. CNC showed up today on the bull zone, got this long consolidation, just getting just enough momentum to show up here on this scanner. First time it's been here. Did hit the 50-day. Here's our level to qualify for staying in the bull zone. It stayed above the end of the day. It also came in with our momentum. That was part of what we were just showing you on the little RKDA chart, where it broke the bull zone down to $5 area. This is what this is trying to do. Did reject the 50-day. Now we picked up on this early in the room. This is not my trade. I'm a trend trader, not a counter trend trader. And when this was heading up to the 50-day, I picked it up on one of my charts. I actually had it on a chart where I've been looking at it a few days ago, and it had already run up to here. And I said, hey guys, it's at the 50-day. Likelihood that they always hit there the first try and pull back, and that's what it did. Went right up there at that time. That's around 104.42. 3-minute chart here. Going back to the first visit, it went to 104.75 and gave a pretty quick pullback, and then went right back up there and double topped again. And then the next time it came up, it couldn't get back through it. Like I said, that's not my kind of trade on the counter trends, but it just came up today. But it is in the bull zone, end of the day, so this could be setting up to be something to be watching. And it's got plenty of upside room here before it hits resistance. CPT, coming up through the 50-day as well. Had a doji day here yesterday as it tested the 50-day. I've been building momentum for a few days and has broke through to just high enough to make the bull zone. And that's another thing, this momentum indicator over on our charting package, you can scan just for the momentum picking up without hitting the bull zone. So you can actually use momentum anywhere. And it measures both directions. It don't tell you what direction, it tells you there's momentum building. Like right here, this came in momentum here. It happened to hit the bear zone at the same time. MAA, same thing, 50-day. This consolidation down here, trying to get a little bit of momentum going. Nothing huge yet. If you look at this on the weekly chart, this thing is way down here. It's been holding this support line for about 6 weeks, got up off of that last week through the 200 week, and it's trying to get something going. Well, in this big scheme of things, these are my target lines. They're actually floating Fibonacci's, and they're pre-plotted, and you can see how they react to them, and we're trying to come back up. I usually say if I start here, I'm going here. If I start here, I'm going here. And now we're starting here, so this could go up, give you a pullback, go up again, and get all the way up in here. Over the long, bigger scheme of things, this is a weekly chart. This little pivot system, it's not actually what we're trading on the pivot zone we show you, but this is some pivot levels, and I included this package in the charting package as well. All the things you see me do and talk about in these videos, I included in this charting package. And you can apply it to any charts you want to apply it to. NEE daily, getting back in the bull zone. This is really picking up momentum. This is definitely not consolidation. It's just gained enough momentum back up here to break into that zone today, and that's a pretty good little pop above the zone, over $1, close to $1.32 over the breakout zone here. And you can use this, this is the combination thing I showed you on the RATA thing a while ago. Momentum, bull zone, the two together is what I scan for. I want them both in sync. I want to be breaking the bull zone levels, and I want to have the momentum when I do. I don't have to be breaking the momentum to begin with, but I want the momentum to be there. You can take the momentum, you can break those down any way you want to. You can combination it up like I use them, or you can actually do the momentum by itself, and you can just do bull zone and check and go look and see if you got momentum. I build the scanners into the workspace on that charting package. You can scan for momentum, or you can scan for the bull zone and the momentum. I like to put the two together when I do the bull zone. SREE, these are a lot of energy stocks. It's been kind of gaining some momentum this week and last week even, some of them. About to the 200 day on this, trying to break out of this long consolidation, and it has been moving up. You can see it hit the bull zone down here, try to break out. It just keeps trying to get going, and it keeps being jerked around with the market and the energy field and sector in general. It kind of can give a lot of jerky days, but this continues to try to work its way up through here and recover from that sell-off. It's done a pretty good retracement on your weeklies right down here. That's my floating Fibonacci, and there you go. Held here for several weeks, and it's done. So that means this has done a 61.8 retracement according to my floaters. Quick way to glance at a chart and get a read on it if you are a fib trader. You can use it on any time frame. Get over to the daily bears. AIG has been here before. Remember, we're looking for the true statements. Bounced around, rejected what was support, old support, new resistance, and continues on down back into the newly calculated bear zone. Not the same one it cleared up here. It's re-entering as it comes down. It's recalculating, re-entering. So it's chopping around, but it's moving lower. ARNA. This is just momentum push out of all this up here. Big hard down day today. This is a big candle, guys. That's $4 it looks like. So it's a 10% drop. This needs to be watched tomorrow. You lost the 50-day here as well. You lost this recent low. So if you trend lined across all this stuff, you've taken all that out. Obviously, some kind of news come in to play with that as well. Lost a lot of key levels here. I'm going to show you the ARNA chart. First, I want to show you a feature of these charts. Right now, this chart is saying it's a long watch. If it's in a red zone, it'll only give an alert for it to go green zone. It comes in right here. Will give you two factors, and then it'll give you one factor. If you got both on the chart, the lower number is takes over, not the bottom number. If you don't have the 1x, it'll only show the 2x by itself. So a whole time right here, this is showing that it's going to go, if it goes high enough, it has a number over here that triggers this into the green zone. A lot of times they're way up here and it goes green zone, it's probably going to come back and go again. As this did not go green zone, it come back down as we predict. It bounces around, and then it starts predicting, still predicting all this time, two factors up, even though it's pulled way back. It's going to trigger long at a lower rate. Now it comes in, this little line here says 1x, and it starts giving you the exact value. Now you take and put that on a chart, and that's what I want to show you on ARNA. As this set up on the 12th, this is on our 50 factor. The bigger the factor, the bigger the trade's going to be overall. This is what this is called swing trader setups for. This is setting up, and as soon as it gets right here, the first time this little yellow box came in right here, it gave the box over here 2x. 2x's, these are factors. 50 factor is 50 cents. 25 factors, 25 cents. So it's giving you a 2x, giving you $1 heads up from the time it triggered that if it drops another $1, it's going to take this red zone. Well, as we teach, it didn't do it because it's down below the horizon pivot, shift zones. It's called trend shift pivot zone. It's going to tell you when the trend shifts. It didn't shift yet, even though it was down here. It goes back up and retraces again. The little box goes away. As it comes back down, the box reappears. Gives you the value again. At that time, it was less than $1 to trigger. It gives you the exact amount on the chart back into our red zone alert. As it progressed down, then the little green line represents the 1x value. So then the chart looked like, the box looked like it did a minute ago. We were looking at the 1x and the 2x. 1x overrides the 2x. Then it was then one factor of triggering. It gives you the exact price to the penny. When it gets here, that don't mean it don't bounce and then go back down. That's what we teach in our tutorials, is how to read the chart and price movement you might expect or incur. That doesn't change the setup. You can take the lower factors and trade the bounce off of them as far as re-entering if you don't want to enter down here. I love to catch this, and I miss a lot of trades because I'll get the rundown and I'll say, hey, I want this to retrace for me. I want a 4-factor bounce or a 3-factor bounce, whatever it's going to take to give me a run back up here so I can get in even at a better entry. That don't always happen. In this case, it did not. The beauty when it does, though, is you got the insight that you can come back up here and you hold this level and then you turn around and roll. And I like to turn 2 factors off the high. So I like to completely know I've gotten back away from there. So that'd be like $1 down. I'm going to give a retracement alert, is what I call it, to re-enter this trade. In this case, in all of these, it never did really get close enough to even trigger a retracement. But you could take this same setup and go into our smaller factor, like the 25, and trade this when this reverses back down for your entry for day trading as well. You find the bigger trend, trade the trend. If you trade the trend, what is the trend? The trend is your friend. Well, trading the trend on this morning would have got you from $39 all the way down here to $36. That peak in that chart I just showed you was actually, now we remember right here's the 12th. This is where we gave the short setup, on the 12th, on Monday the 12th. So you can get ahead before they start raising. If you want to be an option trader, you can get ahead of the game before they raise the prices because they don't think it's going this far yet. What happened this morning, that peak I just showed you, was the gap up. The stock was headed down, gapped up, or I'll go red to gap, didn't go all the way back to the level. It could have went up some more and then reversed. In the case of this morning, it just immediately started selling. You know, I'm not saying you get it right here. Let it develop, work your VWAP, and then find your entry through your smaller time frame charts. But trade the trend. You learn if you try our package out, 7-day free trial, and you build your data up first so that when you get the trial you can see the charts. You've got to build up some historical data. We put a video over on the internet how to download Ninja for free and set up your data connections. Go put another one out tonight, how to tweak that data connection to start building historical tick data so you can run these charts. If you're interested in taking a look at our 7-day trial, you'll be able to do that here in just a few days. You can go ahead and download Ninja and check out those connection items we got on that video and see if you can start building you some historical data. This was the 5-minute chart on this stock. You go down, you head back up, then you take your short, boom, look at this move you got here all day today. Stock's now in the bear zone. Just picking up momentum. This stock's been selling here for a while. This was a gap down, obviously, through the bear zone. NSC got this consolidation sideways here for quite a while. Pretty big down day, about a $5 day down, into the bear zone, end of the day. That's not good. You do got this for your support area, so high, which was back here. It has held it before. It pierced it and pinned it on the big sell-off day in the market and did get back above it. That's your support line right here. It needs to hold. You rejected the 50-day twice. Yeah, I've been telling you these videos for days and days and days that our subscription package can show you this trade way up here instead of way down here. This is the 12th right here on the chart on NSC. Now, I just tweeted this over here 1 minute ago. Pulled it up, looked at the chart, see what it showed. This is the 12th as this stock's trying to come down. What I've been teaching you was it breaks into the lower area below our trend shift pivot zone and does not trigger a short red zone yet. It's going to revisit. This is a prime example. Now, when this was coming down right about here, it gave the 2x right here on the chart. If it gets to the 2x level to the penny, what it will trigger, rollover right up here of the red zone. This is why you don't take it early. It didn't trigger. It goes right back up perfectly to the trend shift pivot zone, and as soon as it gets right here, it starts to reject. And now, and the whole time it's rising, it's keeping the 2x. So that means the 2x short zone over here on this little box that you were seeing earlier is giving you the price that will trigger the red zone alert. As this is rising, and this is a pretty good rise from about 142, looks like about a quarter all the way back up to 144. So you got $1.50 to 60 cent rise here. So that's about 3-factor rise, maybe 3.5 to 4. It's a 50-factor chart. As it rises back each step of the way, it's still saying 2x is going to trigger me. So 2x is 2 times the factor. I made this as easy as I could figure out how to do it. 2 times the factor. That means a dollar pullback is going to trigger the 2x red zone alert. So as it's rising, every step of the way as it goes through our algo system, 50 cents, 51 factor higher, it raises the trigger price for the short. So way down here it was telling you the trigger price is going to be $141. By the time it gets up here, it's telling you the trigger price is going to be $143. Then when it starts down, the 1x kicks in. Now the chart shows 1x, 2x. You take the 1x. The 2x will usually be faded out, dimmed out, but sometimes I have seen both of them still show up bright, but most of the time the 2x is already faded out. To the penny, it tells you exactly where this is going to trigger at. There you go, $143 put you in this trade. You're down to 136 today. That's in a day and a half. OLN, sideways, 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 barely breaking into the bear zone here. And getting a little momentum. This is fighting a weekly over here, a bunch of 50-day right here. Chop, chop, chop. Can't get back through this resistance on that weekly. RTN went out and touched the 50-day today. Closed. Nice bounce there. Closed on the bear zone. This stock, very strong company, obviously. The market bounces. This stock probably don't go down. This is something definitely depends on what the market's doing, I would think, unless something else comes out news-wise that could affect this. Or it continues to build momentum here. This is just a first sign of weakness into our bear zone. Signet, big gap down this morning. One of my buddies actually mentioned this to me. Another guy in the room was watching it as well. These lines were drawn pre-market. This is something that I don't trade a lot of this crazy stuff. It's set up perfectly. I did put it in the room and talk about it. See if I can get you a pre-market chart and I'll show you. I was thinking too deep right there. Sorry, I was looking at another chart. When it came down here, it broke through this supported area from the pre-market action. I said, okay guys, this is your resistance now. Came back up. 42.25 was the high of that candle. This is just a 1 minute chart. Next candle, 42.24, 42.32 is your line. You can short this stock. You won't wait till this bar closes. You want to wait till this bar takes out the low of that bar. There's your defined stop. Or if you're brave, you can just jump in. Take it and put your stop right above that, 5 or 6 cents, and take a chance. You got a dime to lose, and look at all the potential. You ended up dropping right there $1, It chops sideways all day. This is the chops why I don't want to trade this stuff. I can find something I can predict and I want to get in and stay in a while. But every time this stock tried to bounce, it's a short. They didn't sell this stock off to buy it. And you just work the trend instead of the counter trend, and you'll get some much bigger trades in the long run. It's just the way I look at it. A lot of people love to fade the sell off, and that's great if that works for you. It don't work for me. I don't even like to trade gap in stocks, but I did throw that in the room first thing this morning, drew the lines, and mentioned where it was early and let them figure it out. That's not my trade. I didn't trade it. Now yesterday I traded Dix early off the same kind of setup, but Signet moves around too jerky for me a lot, but it did set up perfectly. I was looking at some other stuff. A lot of guys did trade that. Dix yesterday morning got a really nice, really early trade off of, and I didn't go back and touch it, and it ended up running all day to the upside. I didn't go back and even look at it. I traded these the same lines that I drew yesterday morning on Dix. I had the high and the low. It's all pre-market, and this was the pre-market low. When this first opened up and went up and slammed into that pre-market high, this was after 8 a.m. It rejected, and I took this short, and I came out right here at $30. I took it all really fast. This is a 10-minute chart. Took all that very, very fast, and then when it turned back around, got itself back above this $30, it ran up. What did it do? Got right here to the pre-market high after 8 a.m. and slammed into it again and stopped. This was already on the chart. This was a previous low on my charts. Chopped around there and then broke out and just had a nice bounce from there on. But that's the pre-market lines, and you can see how it reacted to them every step of the way on those early trading. So that's how I like to set up a pre-market chart, is the action after 8 a.m. And I will go note some weekly and daily supports and so forth that's out on my regular time charts as well. But I love to draw those lines pre-market and see what that support and resistance was. That's what those computers were stepping in. They had reasons, and it's a great way to set up your pre-market action to trade later on through the day. That's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. Throw the recap up here real quick. Okay, here we are at the recap. You've got the full list of stocks that showed up in the last 5 days on the bears. You've got your momentum, your stability, and if they're still in the bear zone. And you can see how they did with the net for the day, how they proceeded down or up or didn't do anything. This is a nice one from yesterday. Down 360. We had Boeing on here yesterday. Boeing gave a nice sell-off today. Down another $8 today. Put this on your list yesterday, remember? Some others that are progressing along. Signet, actually, it's Signet's fourth day on here. You know, it gapped down today, but it actually showed up last Thursday on this list of stocks getting into the bear zone. Of course, it gapped down today, I believe, on earnings. Take a look at these bulls. And you got last 2 days, got $1.63 up off this little stock from yesterday. Speed has been on here 3 days ago. We put this on. It happened to get a big red day yesterday and then came back up on an upgrade today. It was a big trading stock. A lot of nice range in there today. A lot of these others are struggling along here. They're not holding the bull zone. This one barely is. I only had a penny up today. Most of this list down at the bottom is deteriorating fast as the market deteriorates. You only got a few of these still progressing down. This one's several days now. There's been bounce today, so it's been on the list for several days. Big day today. So this is one that's what we show you here. Goes in the bull zone, still maintains the momentum indicator part. That's the yellow bar all the way through. Even though it's sat here on 2 inside days, holding support, and then breaks on out today for another big day. They don't just keep going up always. It did break through support resistance here, held it for 2 days, nice little inside day, then a nice explosion out this morning for another $3 day, total of 582 from where this hit the list at 39.38. That's how this yellow line can help guide you in your trades. And so we get the rest of this list on here for you. Don't forget, we do this so you can pause the video and take a look at the full watch list. Thanks for watching. Try not to keep you so long tomorrow.